Happy Feast Day. My dear consecrated men and women, my dear brothers in the priesthood, deacons, our beloved faithful, and all people here present, peace be with you. We gather here, my dear brothers and sisters, to celebrate the World Day of the Consecrated Life in this year 2026. We do so with hearts full of gratitude to God's love and care, and for His continuous protection even when we did not merit it. There are moments in the life of the Church when events converge in such a way that we are invited not merely to celebrate, but also to discern with listening ears and hearts. Today is one of those moments. When we began planning for this year and its celebrations, when we prayerfully reflected on the theme consecrated for peace, compassion, and mission, we did so without any knowledge of what lay ahead of us. We did not anticipate that this year would later be proclaimed by the Holy Father, Pope Leo XIV, as the extraordinary Jubilee of St. Francis of Assisi. However, having settled on this theme, we then entrusted the animation of this Eucharistic celebration to the Franciscan fraternity who are here present with us. I want to say thank you very much for what you are doing now, animation. It is a coincidence that we didn't plan officially to be that way. At this point, one cannot help but pause for a moment and ask, is this not the quiet work of God in our midst, that all that we have planned converges with what the Holy Father also desires for this year? God was already aligning our hearts. He was already speaking both to this local church here, our members of the consecrated life, and the universal church. Through the Jubilee of St. Francis, my dear brothers and sisters, God reminds us that the world today is deeply in need of peace, is yearning for compassion, and is searching for meaningful mission. These are not abstract ideas. They are the deepest longing of humanity. Our world is restless, my dear brothers and sisters. Many feel forgotten, many feel unheard, many feel abandoned. Some experience this abandonment in societies, and others experience this painful experience in our midst, in our communities, at points of at work, and within the space meant to offer care and accompaniment. Today, the Church pauses to look at you, yourself, and every individual of you. You, the consecrated men, and you, the consecrated women of our Archdiocese of Nairobi. She does not look at you to admire your perfection, but to thank God for you as a gift to this diocese, to the Church of God. A gift that is fragile, a gift that is prophetic, and a gift that is deeply necessary for our wounded world today. Today, we celebrate not only what you do first, but we want to celebrate what you are as a consecrated man and consecrated woman, consecrated for the peace, compassion, and the mission. Providentially, my brothers and sisters, this celebration comes during the extraordinary jubilee of Saint Francis of Assisi that invites the whole church to rediscover simplicity, to discover reconciliation, and to discover the missionary joy that's given us by Christ himself. Go to the rest of the world and preach and proclaim the good news. It is therefore fitting that we reflect today on consecrated life through the gentle and yet demanding light of the gospel and the readings today, through the burning heart of St. Francis of Assisi also and his spirituality. The first thing for us to reflect on is that let us reflect on consecrated life as a purification and witness. As a purification and witness. The first reading from the prophet Malachi speaks of a God who comes not to destroy but to purify. He is like a refiner's fire. He will purify the sons of Levi till they present right offerings to the Lord. This word is addressed first to us, both priests, men and women religious. Consecration is not an escape from fire of purification. It is an entrance into it. God does not consecrate us to keep us comfortable, to give us comfort zones. He consecrates us to refine us, to strip us of what is false, to strip us of what is heavy, that is not necessary for our mission, and to make us self-serving, so that our lives may become a pleasing offering to himself. St. Francis understood this very well. He allowed God to purify him through poverty. He allowed God to purify him through obedience, and he allowed God to purify him through humility. He once said, and I quote, "What a person is before God, that he is, and nothing else he should be." He remains what he is before God. In a world that often seeks power, recognition, competition that is not even necessary, control, and many other things that are worldly, consecrated life stands quietly but firmly as a sign that God alone is enough. God alone is the strength for us to focus on. Your vows, my dear brothers and sisters, are not negotiations, and are not negated, and are not negations. They are proclamations. They proclaim that peace is possible when we surrender to God. They proclaim that compassion is possible, and they proclaim the goodness of the Lord to the humanity. That compassion flows when we are purified and we are ourselves before God. Purified through that fire of our religious life. Consecrate me. You are the light. And people will see the actions that you do, and they will know and glorify God. That mission becomes fruitful when God, not ego, not your ego, is at the center. I want to mention point 2, which relates us to the readings of today again. Let us render gratitude to God for consecrated life as a sign of peace. In the Gospel, Simeon takes the child Jesus into his arms and says words that echo across centuries. So I quote his saying, "Lord, now let your servant depart in peace." Brothers and sisters, peace is not the absence of struggle. Simon waited for many years for that peace in silence, in the presence of God. Anna fasted and prayed day by night. And then peace was born, not from comfort, but from faithful perseverance. Peace calls for our perseverance. Peace in our congregations, peace in our communities calls for perseverance. We are called today to be a school of peace in a restless world, in restless souls, in our restless sometimes church, and in restless humanity. Many of you carry fatigue. You carry unanswered questions, hidden wounds, and sometimes even disappointments. Yet the church dares to say to the world, look at them. These are the signs of peace. And I want to confirm to you that through your witness, peace is possible. My dear people of God, my dear people consecrated, when communities forgive instead of divide, when elders are listened to, and when young people are also listened to as they respect the elders, when prayer remains central, we are fulfilling the calling of Simeon, who sang the song of "At Last, So Powerful Master, let your peace come to the world." This point takes me to point number 3 of our reflection. As I want to say, it is likewise very important for us today to acknowledge that consecrated life is a sign of compassion. My dear brothers and sisters, show compassion to one another. Show compassion to others the way you understand it in your charism, the way you understand it in your congregation. At times, you will agree with me. You can be so very rough, to each other in your lives. Kweli rongo? Kweli ama uongo? Yeah, you can be very rough to one another. And I will tell you from my own self, the worst experience, or among the worst experiences I have as a shepherd, my brothers and sisters in this consecrated life, one of them is when they fight. It keeps me restless nights, sleepless nights, because there's no compassion. It disturbs also your experience. It distorts the whole church. It distorts the message of Jesus Christ, who said, love one another as I've loved you. And for this love that I have for you, people will know that you are my disciples. The letter to the Hebrews tells us something breathtaking about it. As Christ says, he had to become like his brothers and sisters in every respect so that he might be merciful. Let us be merciful to one another. The mercy we show and the mercy we live in disseminating our mission among the people of God, it's also the same one that we need to have in our own midst. This is the heart of compassion. Jesus did not save us from a distance. He entered into our flesh. He entered into our sufferings. He entered into our fears and humanity. Like Pope Francis says, to smell like the sheep, to sit with the sick, to listen with the broken, and to teach the forgotten, to accompany the wounded. And St. Francis kisses the leper. That gesture was not just romantic. It was revolting our minds and our hearts. He discovered that compassion changes not only the one who is loved, but also the one who loves. My dear brothers and sisters, the credibility of consecrated life today will not be measured by structures alone. It will not be measured by our successful competitions, but it will be measured by our being compassionate to one another, compassionate in the service of God. Are we close to people's pains? Do we weep with those who weep? Do we allow ourselves to be interrupted by suffering? I want to encourage you on the following again as the last point. I urge you, my dear brothers and sisters, and I urge each one of you very particularly to thank God for the gift of consecrated life as a mission. It is a mission that needs fidelity that requires courage, fidelity that requires sacrifice, and fidelity that requires suffering. Simeon called Jesus a light for revelation to the Gentiles. Consecrated life exists not for itself, but for the mission of light. In the Jubilee of St. Francis, the Church remembers a man who crossed cultures, crossed religions, and crossed geographical borders to reach out to the people of God at all ages and all times and in all places. He evangelized not by force, but by the presence he made to the people. He was gentle, and gentle was his strength. Mission today requires courage, my dear brothers and sisters. It requires creativity and it requires humility. It requires communities that pray deeply and move boldly together with one another. It requires consecrated persons who are rooted in Christ and attentive to the signs of the times. My dear brothers and my dear sisters, consecrated people in the service of the Lord, do not be afraid of these small beginnings. Take courage. Do not be discouraged by changing realities, and do not lose the joy of your first call. As the Vita Consecrata reminds us about the consecrated life, it says, a living memorial of Jesus' way of living and acting today. Your consecrated life is a living memorial of Jesus Christ acting today. And the world needs this memory, and it's you who is that memory. Kenya needs this memory, and the church needs this memory. I want to conclude by saying, let us present ourselves again. Let us present ourselves again to God. Jesus Christ was presented, and he presented himself. So today, like Mary and Joseph also, you are invited once again to present yourselves to the Lord. Not because you are perfect, but because you are willing to serve Him with gladness. Not because the journey has been easy, but because God's grace has been sufficient for you. May St. Francis teach us joy in simplicity, and may Simeon teach us patience in waiting, and may Anna teach us perseverance in prayer. And may Christ, the Prince of Peace, renew in you the fire of compassion and the fire of courage for mission. May the Lord bless you, and may the Lord give you peace. Amen.